Driving environment. The objective of this lecture is to know the different environments of driving, like night, fog, storm, rain, and the effective ways to deal with them to stay safe on the road. The key modules of this lecture are night driving, fog and storm, rain and flood, different times of the day, natural forces acting on all types of vehicles. Let's discuss how to drive safely at night. Night driving is another aspect of driving which is more challenging than driving during the day. It demands more focus, special techniques, and precautions. One of the obvious reasons is the absence of natural daylight. It is important to understand that 90% of drivers' reaction depends on vision, and vision is severely limited at nighttime. During the daytime, drivers can see and feel objects in their central and peripheral vision respectively, owing to the availability of sunlight. At night, the driver's vision is restricted due to the unavailability of natural light source, and they totally depend on vehicle headlights and streetlights for visibility. Due to less visibility, the likelihood of both fatal and minor crashes are higher at night for every road user. However, this risk is much higher for novice or young drivers. Now let's discuss how the visual system works and eyes see at nighttime. Our eyes help us to see in an incredibly wide range of lighting conditions as different parts of the eyes work together. The vision is made possible by three parts of the eye: the pupil, rod and cone cells, photopigments. The pupil. The eye is similar in many ways to the camera. The camera's aperture is the part that shrinks or enlarges to let in light in a controlled way. The pupil does a similar function. It will get very small in bright light to physically block the excess amount of light from reaching the retina, and will open wide in the darkness. Rod and cone cells. Our eyes use two different types of cells to see the light. They are rods, cones. The cone cells perceive fine details and colors, but need bright light in order to do so. It is called photopic vision. Rod cells can only see black and have poor resolution, but remain sensitive even in very low light. It is called scotopic vision. Mesoscopic vision occurs in intermediate lighting conditions and is effectively a combination of scotopic and photopic vision. Photopigments. Both rods and cones contain light-sensitive chemicals called photopigments. When exposed to light, photopigments go through a chemical reaction that converts light energy to the electrical activity which our brain knows how to interpret. Rhodopsin, the photopigment used by the rods, is the key to night vision. Colors affecting visibility. Primarily, the human eye can adapt to varying light conditions as it has the ability to adjust to various levels of darkness and light. The two types of visual adaptations are light adaptation, dark adaptation. Light adaptation occurs when we move from the dark into the bright light. It takes approximately 5 to 7 minutes for the eye to adapt to bright sunlight from darkness. Dark adaptation occurs when going from a well-lit area into a dark area. For example, when we enter a very dimly lit room, soon after being out on a bright sunny day, we're hardly able to see our surroundings at first. But as time goes by, we gradually become able to see the things in the room. The eye takes approximately 20 to 30 minutes to fully adapt from bright sunlight to complete darkness. It is much faster for our eyes to adapt to bright light than to adjust to darkness. For this reason, at night, motorists are unable to see the objects or other road users that are in dark color. Therefore, other road users, especially cyclists and motorcyclists, should wear a brightly colored helmet and fluorescent clothing or strips. They can also use dipped headlights, even in good daylight, to make themselves more noticeable. Factors that increase the risk of driving at night. Apart from visibility, there are many other factors that increase the risk of driving at night. They include depth perception, color recognition, and peripheral vision are compromised after sundown, less ability to judge speed and distance. Vulnerable road users, such as pedestrians, cyclists, and motorcyclists, are often not clearly visible to the motorists. There are more fatigued drivers on the road after a hectic day of work. less time and space to react as the vehicle lighting cannot illuminate far enough, increased distraction as often night driving is for recreational purposes. How to drive responsibly at night. Now let's see how to drive responsibly at nighttime. There is much that drivers and riders can do to minimize the after-dark dangers. Some of the effective measures include eye adaptation, use light smartly, avoid bright lights, back off, scan and be alert. Eye adaptation. The most obvious danger of night driving is decreased visibility. So take steps to speed up the process of adapting to darkness. Before going into the dark area and risking bumping into something, close the eyes and cover them for a while to let them adapt to darkness. Also, applying slight pressure on the eyes with the palms can help speed up the adjustment process. Remember, the interior or dash lights on maximum can compromise the forward vision. Avoid interior lights while driving and keep dashboard lights at dim for better outside visibility. Use light smartly. Vehicles' lights are there for drivers' safety and for those around them. It is illegal to drive at night without fully functional front and rear lights. Drivers should also check and ensure that all lights on the vehicle are in full working order, kept cleaned, and aimed in the right direction before starting the journey. In fact, it is a good idea to get in the habit of keeping the headlights on often. Important rule: you must use the lights for your vehicle from sunset until sunrise, as well as during the day where the view is unclear. The lights must be on the front and rear of the vehicle. Article 63, Executive Bylaw, UAE Federal Traffic Law No. 21, 1995. Moreover, during bad weather, consider using lights regardless of the time of day. Thunderstorms, for example, can bring in dark clouds that turn the sky almost as dark as night. Drivers may use the headlights on high beam mode to see further ahead, only when, on freeways without lampposts, view is not clear enough. High beams can dazzle other drivers, so it is better to dip to low beam when there is an oncoming vehicle on a two-way road or when approaching another vehicle from behind on a one-way road. Avoid bright lights. A bright light can greatly increase the amount of time the eyes need to adjust to darkness. Therefore, when driving at night, the drivers should avoid looking directly at the beams coming towards them. Instead, they should look to the right side of the road and drive towards the right of the lane to stay on course. If drivers are being dazzled by the lights of a vehicle behind, they should use the day and night or anti-glare positions of the interior mirror. The night position reduces the glare from headlamps of vehicles behind. Drivers may flip the tab on the bottom edge of the mirror to select the day or night mode. In modern vehicles, night mirrors can be used to reduce the possibility of being dazzled by the lights of the vehicle behind. Back off. In darkness, it is harder to judge the speed and distance of the vehicles. The objects can be closer than they appear or traveling faster than anticipated. Moreover, drivers should prepare themselves for any unexpected challenge. Therefore, they should back off, which means drive at a speed that allows them to spot hazards and react accordingly. Maintain a safe following distance that is double compared to daytime. That is, the safe following distance should be 4 seconds instead of 2 seconds for light motor vehicles, 6 seconds instead of 3 seconds for motorcycles, 8 seconds instead of 4 seconds for heavy vehicles. Scan and be alert. The best way to avoid an accident at night is to be watching for lights and movements. Motorists can stay alert by checking mirrors regularly to be aware of the surroundings. At night, it is more important to scan for other road users' mistakes than having to worry about your own. One way to scan better and staying alert is by ensuring that the windshield and mirrors are clean. Windshields that appear clean during the day may reveal streaks that can cause glare at night. Motorcyclists also need to make sure that their visor is clean and scratch-free. Similarly, dirty mirrors reflect the lights from vehicles behind in a wider, diffused manner that can cause glare in the eyes. Therefore, drivers must make sure that the mirrors are clean and are adjusted in the direction that will make it easier for them to see. Always follow the rules and regulations and scan the road actively to anticipate the mistakes of other road users. Fog and sandstorm. In this module, you'll learn how to drive safely in fog and sandstorm. Fog is like a cloud that forms on the surface of the Earth, made of tiny water droplets suspended in the air. In general, fog is formed whenever there is a difference between the temperature of the air and the ground. That is when warm or moist air passes over a cool surface. Fog can be patchy, dense, or light. Fog can be one of the most dangerous weather conditions for both novice and experienced drivers. Fog has the potential to reduce visibility significantly, so it can cause drivers to lose focus on the road. It can lead to a pile-up accident where many vehicles crash into one another, causing injuries and fatalities. Tips for driving safely in fog. It is always advisable to check the weather forecast before you start your journey. In case of a fog warning, delay your journey until it clears. Fog is usual in the cooler months. If you happen to come across fog while driving, you need to know the do's and don'ts to follow in order to drive or ride safely. Let's first see what the do's are. Use low beam headlights, as high beam reflects off the moisture droplets in the fog, making it harder to see. If the vehicle is equipped with fog lights, use them in addition to the low beam. Keep the windows clean. Use the defroster and wipers to increase the vision. Motorcyclists are advised to keep their visors clean. Drive at a speed that suits the conditions. Increase the safe separation distance. Use pavement markings as a guidance on the road. Consider right edge rather than a center line. Be patient and avoid unnecessary lane changing, passing, and crossing traffic. Watch out for electronically operated warning signs and obey them. Unwind the windows slightly to listen to traffic or hazards if visibility is low. Reduce any possible distraction by turning the radio down or turning off the cell phone to keep your full attention on the road. Remember, if the fog is too dense to continue, pull completely off the road and try to position your vehicle in a safe parking area. Turn on the hazard lights in addition to keeping on your low beam headlights. The list of don'ts are: do not activate hazard lights to warn others about the fog. Use it only in an emergency, as they are designed to warn other motorists that the vehicle is stopped completely or there is a road hazard ahead. Don't stop on the traveled portion of the road, as you could make the first link in a chain reaction collision. Don't increase the speed suddenly, even if the fog seems to be clear, as the fog could be in patches and could come back suddenly. Don't overtake slow-moving vehicles unnecessarily. Don't continue driving if the fog is too dense. Visibility and speed. Studies show that motorists choose to drive at speeds at which they are incapable of stopping to avoid obstacles in the roadway, even if they were to identify and react to the obstacles immediately at the border of visibility distance. If motorists drive faster than visibility permits, severe multiple vehicle crashes could occur. Motorists should slow down more than they would on their own when driving in fog. If the road has a variable message sign which displays the speed limit, motorists must follow that, as it is a dynamic speed limit based on the available visibility. Remember, always watch your speed. You may be traveling faster than you think. If so, reduce the speed gradually. Driving in sandstorm. Sandstorm arises when the wind is fast enough to lift the top layer of sand from the ground and push it in every possible direction. It usually occurs near sandy or desert areas. Just like in fog, driving in sandstorm is also another dangerous action on the road. Sandstorm affects all motor vehicles and makes safe driving difficult, as it decreases visibility due to sand in the air or on the windscreen, affects vehicle or bike control due to wind or cross pressure, reduces the tire grip due to the sand on the road, hide road markings due to the sand accumulation on the road. Due to all these problems, it increases the risk of a crash. During a sandstorm, it is better to avoid driving. Look for a safe place to pull completely off the paved portion of the roadway and apply the handbrake. Turn off all the lights, including hazard lights, in order not to confuse or misguide other vehicles approaching from behind. It is advisable to stay in the vehicle with the seatbelt buckled and wait for the storm to pass. Motorcycle riders should consider this extremely, as it affects their ability to ride safely. If you face a sandstorm while driving, the safety rules and tips to be followed are: use headlights to see and be seen by others. Keep windows up and vents closed. Keep a firm grip on the steering wheel with both the hands. Drive at a speed that suits the conditions. Maintain the circle of safety around your vehicle. Be patient and avoid unnecessary lane changing, passing, or crossing traffic. Watch and obey any electronically operated warning signs. Reduce any possible distraction by turning the radio down or turning off the cell phone to keep the full attention on the road. The list of don'ts during a sandstorm include: don't use the hazard light while driving through the sandstorm. Don't speed, swerve, or apply a sudden brake. Don't stop the vehicle or motorcycle in the middle of the road if the view is restricted suddenly. Try to move aside. Don't overtake heavy vehicles, especially on open roads. Slippery and sandy roads. Drivers are always advised to read the road well ahead and take the weather condition into consideration. Drivers should observe their mirrors and slow down when they see the road surface is deteriorating. Keep away from soft verges and look out for sand, gravel, or chippings, as they can make the surface very slippery. Report on accident casualties. On the roadway, there are a lot of things that can be controlled, like behavior, speed, distraction, and many others. However, one thing that cannot be controlled is the weather. In bad weather conditions, the roads become more hazardous because it can not only affect the roads but also impacts the driver's operating abilities and the flow of traffic. Even the most experienced and competent drivers should be extra cautious in adverse weather conditions to avoid accidents. According to experts, the adverse weather conditions contribute a lot to increase the road accident casualties. In most of the cases, poor visibility and not adhering to the safety rules during the bad weather condition could lead to a pile-up accident, which may include cars, motorcycles, trucks, buses, and other vehicles. These multiple vehicle collisions are particularly deadly as the mass of crumpled vehicles makes it difficult for the survivors to escape. Even if the survivors can exit, other vehicles may strike them. In a multiple vehicle collision, the individual vehicles are often hit multiple times at high speed, increasing the risk of injuries to passengers who may have survived the first impact. In the meantime, the spilled fuel and oil can catch fire, which can soon engulf the crashed vehicles. Multi-vehicle collisions often result in blocked roadways. Therefore, it's difficult for the fire and rescue vehicles to arrive to the crash site quickly. Another consequence of bad weather like fog and storm is the losing of vehicle control, which often results in a single vehicle crash. This can include accidents like running off the road and colliding with static objects, such as parked vehicles, lamppost, rail guard, and other things. During adverse weather conditions, drivers and riders are advised to pull over to the safe side of the road and wait until the conditions improve. Rain and flood. In this module, you'll learn how to drive safely through rain and flood. Driving in rain. A sudden rain can change the surface of the road and make driving very dangerous. This weather condition can significantly increase the risk of a crash. Records have proven that the ratio of accidents is much higher during rains as compared to normal weather conditions. This is because many people do not change their driving habits on wet road. According to Generic News, a rain spell leads to an accident every 2 minutes. The first rain after a long dry period makes the road surface slippery as water mixes with oil and dirt on the road that has not been washed away. Until further rain washes the oil and dirt away, skidding may occur. This layer of oil and wet dirt creates a slippery layer on the surface of the road, making it significantly hazardous. Apart from making the road slippery, rain also brings forth more hazards, such as poor visibility, lesser tire traction, aquaplaning, increased braking distance. Visibility. Rain affects the driver's visibility to see through the vehicle's windshield. It also reduces the driver's or rider's perception. This is because the rainwater acts like a lens which depresses the light, so that much of it is reflected in different directions. As a result, the visibility reduces and the road markings also become almost invisible to the road users. Therefore, while driving in rain, consider the following tips to help improve the visibility. Before it starts to rain, replace old or brittle wiper blades. Use the various speeds of the windshield wipers to help remove the amount of water that's hitting the windscreen. Turn on the headlights in low beam for better visibility and to be seen by others. Drive slowly. Be more alert, watching for brake lights in the front. Avoid following heavy vehicles like trucks and buses too closely, because the spray created by their large tires can reduce the visibility. Tire traction. Water makes the road slippery, reducing the tire traction. To improve tire traction, motorists should make sure the tires are in good condition and not worn out. Stay away from pools of water that accumulate on the road by driving in a lane where there is less water. If possible, drive in the track of a vehicle ahead, as it would disperse the water. However, make sure to drive with a safe separation distance during the rain. Aquaplaning. Aquaplaning, also known as hydroplaning, is when a layer of water builds up between the wheels of the vehicle and the road surface, causing loss of traction that prevents the vehicle from responding to the driver's control. The grooves in the tread pattern of a rubber tire are designed to disperse water from underneath the tire, providing high friction even in wet conditions. But the dispersion of water from under the tire is possible properly only when the vehicle is at low speeds. However, as the speed increases, a wedge of water forms in front of the tire. At high speeds, the tire encounters more water than it can dissipate. Water pressure in front of the wheel forces a wedge of water under the leading edge of the tire, causing it to lift off a little from the road. At this point, the tire loses contact with the road and starts to skate or float on the thin sheet of water, which results in loss of control. During a condition like this, neither the steering movements or the braking forces can be transmitted to the road. If multiple tires aquaplane, the vehicle may lose directional control and slide until it either collides with an obstacle or slows enough that one or more tires contact the road again and traction is regained. The factors that increase the likelihood of aquaplaning are vehicle speed, depth of water on the road, tread pattern and depth, tire pressure. To prevent aquaplaning, motorists should reduce the speed according to the situation and should not increase the speed to more than 80 km per hour. Avoid slamming on the brakes, as it can cause the vehicle to skid, making the brake less effective. Try to stay in the middle lane as far as possible, as water tends to gather in the outside lane first. Never drive through moving water if the ground is not visible, as the vehicle could be swept off the road. Make sure that the tread pattern is proper and its depth is adequate. To maintain the performance potential in wet weather, it is recommended to use the circumferential grooves as it channels water away quickly. The tread depth needs to be at least 4 mm to channel enough water. Maintain the accurate tire pressure in all the tires. Do not use cruise control in wet conditions. How to regain control if the vehicle aquaplanes. First, the motorists should keep themselves calm, and then check mirrors, turn on the hazard lights, grip the wheel firmly and avoid braking or accelerating. Reduce the speed gradually by releasing the accelerator. Once there is a feeling that the vehicle is under control, either brake gently or accelerate gently. Check the mirrors again for other vehicles getting too close. The best thing to do when aquaplaning is not to panic and avoid making any sudden movements. Usually the vehicle will come back under control without any action on the driver's part. Braking distance. Braking distance depends on 2 factors. 1. Thinking distance. 2. Stopping distance. Both these factors will be affected during the rain. Thinking distance increases as the visibility reduces in the rain. The stopping distance multiplies because there is less friction between the tires and the road. These factors affect the braking distance considerably. For example, at a speed of 60 km per hour in a dry weather condition, the braking distance would be approximately 33 meters before the vehicle comes to a complete stop. But on the other side, if the same vehicle is traveling at the same speed of 60 km an hour in a wet weather condition, the braking distance would be approximately 48 meters. Henceforth, it is advisable to drive slowly in the rain. Double the following distance, For example, in case of light motor vehicles, the required safe following distance of 2 seconds should be increased to 4 seconds. After the rain has stopped, do not speed up, because the wet surface of the road could still increase the braking distance. Point to remember: during adverse weather conditions, always allow extra time for safe travel. Assessing floodwater. Flood occurs when the input of water is greater than what the drainage can take away. Floods usually occur after heavy rains. Floods are inherently dangerous because it can cause serious damage to vehicles or its occupants. In case of heavy rains, flood can occur in valleys as well as in many areas of the city. To be safe, it is best to avoid driving through the flood, particularly on two-wheelers. However, if it is necessary to drive through flood, motorists need to be extra watchful as there might be hidden dangers in the path, like sharp objects or deep holes. Therefore, before driving through flood, it is important to assess the depth of the flood water and be certain that it is safe to do so. Remember, for light motor vehicles, if the flood water is above half the tire height, do not drive through, because the water may enter the exhaust pipe and may cause the engine to stall. Avoid driving through flowing water, even if the water level is below half the tire height, because the force of the water may sweep away the vehicle. When driving through water, engage low gear and drive slowly while maintaining a smooth acceleration. If the vehicle has manual transmission, rev the engine by slipping the clutch to prevent the water from entering the exhaust pipe. All motor vehicles, especially heavy vehicles, should be very careful not to splash water around and soak other motorists or pedestrians. In valleys, commonly known as wadis in this region, the roads have water level markers to assess the depth of floodwater. If the water level has reached the red zone, it is unsafe to cross the road in that area. Passing through thereafter. After driving through a flood, avoid speeding, as the brakes will not be efficient due to moisture. Motorists may step on the brakes repeatedly while still driving slowly to remove the moisture until the efficiency of the brake is restored. After passing through floodwater, even if the vehicle seems fine, it is always a good idea to immediately have the vehicle completely checked up, as many modern vehicles have sensitive electronic components that may malfunction. Different times of the day. In this module, we will learn how to drive safely at different times of the day. While driving at different times of the day, like in the glaring sun or in busy areas during peak hours, driving can be more difficult and challenging. Sun glare. Let's first understand what is sun glare. Driving is a passion for many, and generally people love to drive during different times of the day. Driving on a beautiful sunny day can provide stunning scenery, but it can also create a hazard if the driver's view is compromised by a glaring sun. Just after sunrise and before sunset, the sun can shine directly into the driver's eyes, requiring many motorists to deal with the glare. This glare can make it much harder to see the road ahead and to identify potential hazards, creating an added risk to drivers. When sun glare is an issue, slow down and be extra cautious, especially while driving through residential and school areas. To drive safely during a sun glare, motorists should keep the windshield clean, inside and out. Use polarized sunglasses if possible, because these specific glasses can help to reduce the sun glare. Use the sun visor, as it can help to block out the sun. Keep more safe distance to give plenty of time for perception. Use lane markings for guidance when it is hard to see the road. Be aware of the traffic and potential hazards around. Driving in busy areas. Driving in a busy area can also be a challenge for the road users, especially for novice drivers. The frequent stopping and accelerating can cause impatience among road users. This situation can lead some drivers to change the lane suddenly and more frequently without using the indicator or proper communication. Another risk in busy traffic areas is the pedestrians who may suddenly appear from areas obscured by other vehicles. So, whenever possible, the motorists should plan to drive at times when there is less traffic. Use routes that are less busy by listening to the local radio station for traffic updates. Navigate a road without traffic jam. However, if the motorists get stuck in a traffic jam, They should stay calm and be courteous to other road users. Stay alert and always check the blind spots to know the surroundings. Plan well ahead and move into the appropriate lane in time to reach the destination. If the lane is merging, use the zipper principle, allowing the vehicle in the merging lane to enter the open lane one after another. Natural forces acting on all types of vehicles. Natural forces are found everywhere in the universe. These forces are acting on all objects or bodies, either stationary or moving, at all times. We cannot see these forces, but often we can see what they do. Let's see what is a force. A force is a push or a pull that can cause an object to increase its speed, reduce its speed, change its direction, change its shape. The natural forces act on all motor vehicles and affect their handling characteristics. These forces are of two types: balanced forces and unbalanced forces. Balanced forces. In general, if the driving force is equal to the force of air resistance and ground friction, then the vehicle that is already moving will carry on at a steady speed in a straight line. On the other hand, the vehicle that is not moving will stay stationary. Unbalanced forces. If the driving force is greater than the forces of air resistance and ground friction, then the vehicle that is stationary will start moving, and a vehicle that is already moving will speed up. It is important to know and understand the laws of these forces, because if motorists break this or misjudge it, they might have to face dire consequences. There are three basic ways that are used to control the motion of a vehicle. They are acceleration, braking, steering. Each of these functions are affected by various forces such as gravity, the force that pulls vehicle towards the center of the earth; driving force, the force that is generated by the engine of the vehicle to move it; friction force, the force of resistance between the vehicle tires and the road; air resistance, the resistance force that acts on the front of the vehicle as it travels through the air; kinetic energy, the energy the vehicle possesses because of its motion; potential energy, the energy the vehicle possesses because of its position; momentum, the force of the moving vehicle; centrifugal force, the tendency of a vehicle to be pulled outward when driving round a curve; inertia, the tendency of a vehicle to resist a change, including all objects or occupants in it. Though there are many other forces, it is important to know these forces, their effects on the vehicle, and the ways to control them. While driving uphill, the force of gravity will work against the vehicle. Motorists can accelerate or select a lower gear to maintain the speed. When going downhill, the force of gravity will cause the vehicle to go faster. Motorists can select a lower gear and, when required, apply the brakes smoothly to control the vehicle while maintaining a safe speed. Friction helps the tire from sliding over the road surface. It increases the traction between the tire and the road surface. Motorists must slow down in slippery areas to maintain the friction and traction between the tire and road surface. The kinetic energy increases with the speed of the vehicle. Motorists can use the vehicle brake system well in advance, according to the road situation, to convert the kinetic energy into heat energy to stop the vehicle safely. When the vehicle is on a bridge or a hill, it has potential energy. Motorists may use the parking brake to maintain the energy. When the vehicle is moving, the vehicle and everything in it has a momentum. Motorists must apply the brake smoothly and shift to a lower gear to dissipate this force. When a sudden brake is applied, the inertia causes the vehicle and everything inside it to move forward. Motorists must use the seat belt and also secure everything inside the vehicle to keep it firm and stopped safely along with the vehicle. Natural forces acting on vehicles may vary depending on weight of the vehicle, height of the vehicle, speed of the vehicle, position of the vehicle. A fast-moving vehicle has a massive amount of kinetic energy and momentum. Motorists can reduce these forces by smooth and gradual braking. If there occurs an accident that causes the vehicle to come to a sudden stop, the force of momentum can create a powerful impact and damage the vehicle and also cause injury to its occupants. However, if the vehicle slows down before hitting the object, or if there is a longer time available for the vehicle to come to a stopping point, the force of momentum will drain out and will have a less forceful impact. As a result, there will be less damage to the vehicle and lesser injuries to the occupants. During an unavoidable crash, motorists may redirect their path towards objects that will cause the vehicle to stop over a greater distance, such as bushes instead of trees, and sand instead of a crash barrier, and avoid hitting a person, another vehicle, or solid immovable objects. Remember, always use vehicle safety features as they absorb the energy during a crash to keep the occupant safe. Rules of the road. The objective of this lecture is to understand the rules of the road and to adapt the ways to drive safely. The key modules of this lecture are rules and regulations of freeways, traffic offences and crashes, planning for a suitable route, eco-friendly driving. We will start from the first module, rules and regulations of the freeways. A freeway, also known as a highway, is a multi-lane road specifically designed for the smooth flow of traffic. Driving on freeways is different from driving on other roads because there is a high volume of traffic traveling at high speeds. On freeways, the traffic in opposite direction will be separated by a central median or a barrier mostly made up of concrete. Traffic moves in both directions without stops as there are no intersections, traffic signals, sharp bends or curves, or pedestrian crossings. Drivers can enter and exit freeways using the entry and exit ramps that allow vehicles to seamlessly merge into or pull out of traffic. Driving on freeways can be more challenging because the traffic moves at a faster speed. Drivers unfamiliar with the route, fatigued drivers, fast-moving vehicles, and other maneuvers of vehicles such as frequent lane changing, tailgating, sudden slowing or stopping are all inherent risks when driving on the freeway. Moreover, on the freeway, the perception, reaction, and stopping distance are also more. Therefore, while driving on a freeway, motorists should be alert, attentive, and be aware of their surroundings. They should consider other types of vehicles such as trucks, buses, and motorcycles. The speed limit of heavy vehicles is lower compared to light vehicles, and their usage is also controlled. Heavy vehicles have dedicated lanes on the freeways which are clearly defined with the help of traffic signs. In order to comply with the rules and to stay safe on the road, heavy vehicles must follow the lane discipline. Likewise, other road users must be careful, as the heavy vehicles have huge blind spots around them. According to law, motorcycles below 80 cc are not allowed on freeways due to safety reasons. Motorcyclists riding on freeways should maintain the optimum lane position which allows them to see and be seen. The better visibility will help them to see well ahead to anticipate the situation and plan accordingly. Similarly, other vehicle drivers must be careful and try to stay away from the motorcyclists for their utmost safety. In general, there are certain procedures to be followed in order to use the freeway safely for all types of motor vehicles. It is very important to be careful while entering the freeway, traveling on the freeway, leaving the freeway. Let's start with entering the freeway. Freeways normally have entry or acceleration ramps which give time for the motorists to gain or adjust the speed while entering the freeway. On these ramps, there is also a sign that indicates the beginning of freeway. Apart from this, there is also a sign for merging traffic. Motorists should be careful about speed limits and curves on the entry ramps. The following steps can help the motorists to enter the freeway smoothly and safely. Check the current flow of traffic on the freeway while approaching the entry ramp. Avoid stopping on the entry ramp unless it is necessary. Maintain a safe separation gap according to the type of vehicle. Turn on the indicator. Adjust the speed on the entry ramp for smooth and safe merging into the freeway. Check mirrors and blind spots. Change the lane when it is safe to do so. After entering the freeway, check mirrors again and increase the speed gradually to match with the traffic stream and turn off the indicator. Traveling on the freeway. Once you enter the freeway safely and smoothly, you are a part of the fast-moving traffic stream. You must take necessary safety precautions while driving on a freeway, as its relevant hazards are different from the other roads. Let's understand what motorists should or should not do while traveling on freeways. While traveling on freeways, motorists are advised to always plan the journey well in advance and allow plenty of time to reach the destination. To be safe and to keep others safe, always select an appropriate lane according to the situation. Observe the traffic signs well. Use the directional and guide signs to choose the appropriate lane well in advance. Watch the variable message signs, as it may advise the motorists of potential hazards on the freeway. Drive at a speed that is under the legal speed limit and will not interfere with the traffic already present on the freeway. Maintain a circle of safety around your vehicle. Use the mirrors frequently, and before changing lanes, make sure to perform the shoulder check to see the vehicles in your blind spot. While traveling on a freeway, motorists should not violate the legal speed limit of the freeway, should not reverse or drive against the flow of traffic, should not operate a non-motorized vehicle on or near a freeway, should not use the far left lane unless overtaking, should not stop or park on the hard shoulder except in case of an emergency, should not pick or drop anybody on the freeway. In addition to these, while driving on freeways, motorists must consider speed limits on freeway, lane discipline, freeway services like rest areas, lay-by, etc., freeway speed limits. Speed limits are usually higher on the freeways, so it can be quite demanding for the motorists, especially for the novice drivers. Therefore, motorists must adapt the speed according to the situation. Usually the speed limits on freeways are light motor vehicle 120 km per hour, heavy vehicles 80 km per hour, minimum speed 60 km per hour. No one is authorized to exceed the maximum speed limit except the emergency vehicles. Therefore, motorists should drive within the speed limit to avoid any accident or traffic violation. At the same time, motorists must not drive below the set minimum speed limit during normal conditions, as it may disrupt the traffic and can lead to a hazardous situation. Important rule: vehicles must not be driven below the set minimum speed or at an unnecessary slow speed which will impede or block the normal and reasonable movement of traffic. Article 40 Executive Bylaw, UAE Federal Traffic Law No. 21, 1995. Now let's learn an important aspect of driving, that is lane discipline. Lane discipline is choosing the correct lane at the appropriate time and keeping the vehicle within the lines of the chosen lane. Lack of lane discipline is one of the leading causes of fatal accidents. It can also cause the motorists to involve in a road rage and may attract fines. Bad lane discipline is usually the result of lack of observation, wrong anticipation, poor planning. Therefore, motorists must plan well in advance and select an appropriate lane to maintain the lane discipline at all times. In order to select the appropriate lane, they should always drive in a lane that gives them better vision and space around their vehicle. On the freeways, the basic rule for lane selection is very simple. Motorists can join the road at a safe speed to merge in lane 1, which is the first driving lane. After joining lane 1, if motorists wish to drive at a faster speed or to move away from a heavy vehicle traveling in lane 1, then they will need to overtake by using lane 2. To do this maneuver safely, they must use the indicator to show their intention, check their mirrors and blind spots. To move further from lane 2 to lane 3, they should allow the same procedure and must ensure that other vehicles will not be obstructed and should match with the speed of vehicles in lane 3. Similarly, the higher number lanes, like lane 4 and lane 5 or above, can be used to overtake the obstructing or slow-moving vehicles. Motorists must move back to the lower number lane as soon as they have space around them, as it is safer for them to continue in that lane. Always be patient in traffic queues and avoid changing lanes unnecessarily. Freeway services. Driving continuously for long hours, especially on freeways, could be dangerous for drivers. Therefore, it is advisable to take at least a 15-minute break every 2 hours. Drivers can stop at rest areas to take rest or use the freeway services. These areas are available at different intervals on freeways. Motorists can spot them easily with the help of relevant signs with countdown markers along the way. One of the safest places to stop on a freeway is the gas station. Usually there are many other services available besides a gas station, like mini-mart and fast food outlets, mosque, rest area, automobile repair shop, air compressor and radiator water hose, short-term parking. Apart from this, Road and Transport Authority has built rest areas and lay-bys for heavy vehicles on major highways. Heavy vehicle drivers can stop in these areas to take long or short breaks, wait during the restricted timings, and check their load or vehicles. Leaving the freeway. Just like entry ramps, freeways have exit ramps also for the drivers to exit safely without obstructing other traffic. In this region, the exits are located on the right side of the freeway. It is good to know that exit ramps on Emirates route have a numbered system, which shows the exit numbers and the approximate distance of that exit from the starting point of the route. This is mentioned to help motorists to plan well in advance. When preparing to exit the freeway, motorists must plan early and should check the mirrors, observe the speed, check the road signs carefully, turn on the indicator, check the blind spots, position the vehicle in the deceleration lane. While approaching the deceleration lane, motorists may reduce the speed gradually to match with the speed limit of the deceleration lane. At the end of the freeway, motorists will find a sign that indicates end of the freeway. While using curved exit ramps on freeway, motorists must be extra careful. After leaving the freeway, they should check the speed limit of the new road, check mirrors, and adjust with the traffic stream. Due to any reason, if motorists miss the desired exit, they should not panic, but stay calm. They are advised to continue driving to the next available exit ramp for exiting. It is obviously illegal and extremely dangerous to reverse or turn suddenly at the last moment on the freeway. Motorists may use interchanges to change their direction of travel. An interchange is a kind of junction which facilitates the drivers to change their position towards various directions by using different ramps without directly crossing other traffic streams. Interchanges are often complex and can be confusing to new drivers. There are different types of four-way interchanges. The typically used interchanges in the UAE are Cloverleaf Interchange, Arterial Interchange, Cloverleaf Interchange. Cloverleaf interchanges resemble the leaves of a four-leaf clover when viewed from above. In fact, it is a junction of roads intersecting at different levels with connecting section to proceed in either direction on either freeways. In other words, a cloverleaf interchange is a two-level interchange in which left turns are handled by ramps or slip roads. Cloverleaf interchanges require only one bridge between the main perpendicular route, and it does not require a traffic signal. However, weaving is a major shortcoming of cloverleaf interchanges. Weaving is the result of placing an exit ramp a short distance after an entry ramp, causing conflicting traffic movement. In order to alleviate congestion and to accommodate increased traffic volume, engineers have designed a geometric configuration intersection which is known as an arterial interchange. Arterial interchange. Arterial interchange is a new development along major freeway corridors. In Dubai, Road and Transport Authority have constructed arterial interchanges on many freeways to provide comprehensive improvements. An arterial interchange is a high-capacity intersection. These intersections often have 3 or more through lanes, and 4 left turns, double or triple lanes are used. To use an arterial interchange safely, plan to deal properly with interchanges. Keep watching the overhead directional signs and position the vehicle carefully. Use indicators early to show your intention. Watch the traffic movement and, if required, make an appropriate adjustment to avoid intercepting other vehicles while entering or exiting. Always check the mirrors and blind spots. Freeway emergencies. Now we will learn about freeway emergencies. Motorists are not allowed to stop, wait, or park on a freeway unless it is an emergency. Freeway emergencies include any sudden, unexpected, or impending situation that forces the motorists to stop the vehicle for something that requires urgent attention and remedial action. If motorists need to stop on the freeway, they must stop in the hard shoulder. Some of the common emergencies that compel the motorists to stop on the freeway are vehicle breakdown, tire blowout, other emergencies. Let's learn in detail how to deal with these emergencies in a safe manner. Vehicle breakdown. Vehicle breakdown on the highway is dangerous and can sometimes create a hazardous situation. In case of vehicle breakdown, motorists should take the following steps to keep everyone safe. Warn other road users about the situation by switching on the hazard lights. Pull over onto the hard shoulder of the freeway and keep the vehicle as far as possible from the road. Stop the vehicle with the front tires turned towards right and keep the hazard lights on. It could be dangerous to stay in the vehicle, therefore leave the vehicle through the right-hand side door and make sure that the passengers too do the same. Motorists may lift the bonnet or boot lid to show others that there is an emergency. To be seen by others, wear a reflective jacket. It is always recommended to carry at least 2 in a vehicle. In case there are no street lights on the road, or if it is difficult to be seen, place the reflective triangular sign behind the vehicle at least 50 meters away for safety. You can approximately measure 50 meters by taking 65 average steps. For the utmost safety of everyone, the driver and the passengers should stay as away as possible from the traffic. Due to any reason, if it is not safe to stay out, the driver can sit inside the vehicle, but only on the right side passenger seat with the seatbelt fastened. Point to remember: never stand in front of the vehicle or attempt to repair it. Call and wait for assistance. Tire blowout. One of the most common emergencies that drivers may encounter on the freeway is a tire blowout. Unlike a flat tire, which involves a slow loss of air pressure, blowout causes the tire to lose pressure rapidly. If a front tire blows out, the vehicle will strongly swerve in the direction of the blowout. Therefore, motorists must react quickly and effectively. If a tire blows out suddenly, keep a firm grip on the steering wheel and compensate for the pulling to the right side gradually. Avoid slamming on the brake pedal, as it can cause the vehicle to skid and lose control. Take your foot off the accelerator pedal and let the vehicle slow down automatically. When the speed is under control, use the brake pedal if needed to pull the vehicle off the road. Stop as far to the right as possible to be in the safest place. Make sure to leave enough room to change the tire, considering the side of the blown-off tires, either right or left. Engage the parking brake and turn on the hazard lights. Remember, do not consider changing the tire if it is not safe to do so. In such cases, call and wait for assistance. Other emergencies. In case of facing any other emergencies like collision or accident, engine overheating, object falling, spilled cargo, motorists should make sure that they are not endangering the lives of other road users. They should follow the safety procedure to pull over and out of traffic if possible. Once the emergency is over, the motorists may return to the freeway. The procedure to return from the hard shoulder to the freeway to safely return to the freeway after pulling onto the shoulder in an emergency. Motorists should wait until there is a large gap in the traffic. Once the safe gap is available, motorists may increase the speed while still on the shoulder. Motorists should check mirrors, turn on the indicator, check blind spots for other vehicles, and then move into the nearest lane when it is safe. After entering the traffic stream safely, turn off signal, check the center mirror, and increase the speed to match with the freeway traffic. To minimize the emergencies on a freeway, before beginning the journey, motorists should make sure that vehicle is fit to carry out a long journey. Vehicle has enough oil and coolant. The tire pressure is accurate in all the wheels, including the spare wheel. Vehicle has enough fuel, at least to take it to the next filling station. If the vehicle is loaded, make sure the load is properly restrained or secured. Remember, motorists should plan early, obey the speed limit, and watch out for signs and road markings to reach the destination safely. Traffic offences and crashes. In this module, we'll learn about common traffic accidents and offences. Traffic offence is a violation of statute, ordinance, or rule relating to traffic movement and control. It can be a civil breach or a crime that results in some form of penalty. The penalties for traffic offences include fines, black points or demerit points, license suspension or cancellation, vehicle confiscation, or a punishment decided by the court. Some motorists commit these traffic offences deliberately, such as overspeeding, jumping a red traffic light, driving without a seatbelt or parking their vehicle where it is not legal. However, it is common knowledge that according to the law, ignorance is no defense. Some of the most common road traffic offenses are overspeeding, sudden swerving or changing lane abruptly, not maintaining the lane discipline, not maintaining safe distance, illegal overtaking, driving without seatbelt, using cell phone, parking in non-designated areas. Motorists who violate the traffic rules do not primarily lack driving skills, but lack a positive attitude towards social responsibilities. Therefore, motorists should take the effective steps to change their attitude towards traffic safety. Otherwise, more serious driving offences could lead to an accident, which may result in injury, fatality, or property damage. Common traffic accidents. Research has proven that 96% of road traffic crashes occur due to human error, which means they do not follow traffic rules and regulations and in turn commit traffic offences. Other reasons for accidents include weather condition, vehicle condition, road condition, random act of fate. The severity of the accident varies with the type of collision. In this region, the most common types of collisions are side impact collision, rear-end collision, run-off road collision, front collision. Side impact collision. Side collisions are vehicle crashes where the side of one or more vehicles are impacted. These crashes often occur on multi-lane road, at intersections, or in parking lots. In most of these cases, side impact collisions occur on multi-lane roads when motorists change their lane without observing the vehicle in their blind spots. This accident results in vehicle damage and occupant's injury. However, the severity of a side impact collision varies depending on speed of the vehicle, safety features of the vehicle, type of the vehicle, and mass of the vehicle. Let's see how to avoid side impact collisions. Motorists need to be aware that every vehicle has its blind spots and that these are always different as it depends on the type, size, and shape of the vehicle. Some manufacturers have developed blind spot information system known as BLIS. It is designed to help motorists to detect the vehicle in their blind spot zone when changing lanes. However, it is always recommended to check over the shoulder before changing the lane to prevent a side collision. Run-off road collision. A run-off road collision, also known as single vehicle collision, occurs when a vehicle leaves the roadway unintentionally. The factors that lead to a run-off road collision are loss of steering control, misjudging the sharpness of a curve, attempting to avoid collision with another road user or animal, distraction, fatigue, or drowsiness. In a run-off accident, the vehicle leaves the tarmac road and runs off the road. A run-off road accident can involve a single or even more vehicles hitting a roadside object. If the vehicle collides with a fixed object, it may cause the vehicle to roll over, resulting in serious injuries or fatalities. Motorists may avoid rolling over by driving in a straight line and keeping a firm grip on the steering wheel. To prevent a run-off road collision, motorists must drive with utmost care and in a controlled manner. Rear-end collision. A rear-end collision is a traffic accident where a vehicle crashes into another vehicle in front of it. Rear-end collisions often occur at traffic lights, roundabouts, and T intersections. The common factors for rear-end collisions are lack of attentiveness, lack of anticipation and planning, not leaving enough safe distance, distractions, adverse road conditions. However, on multi-lane roads, this accident occurs due to tailgating or not maintaining enough safe distance. In general, the motorists of the vehicle at the tail end of the other vehicle are mostly considered to be at fault due to not leaving enough following distance. In the case of a rear-end collision, even at a moderate speed, a typical medical consequence is whiplash injury, whereas in most severe cases, it can cause a serious injury or fatality. Motorists may avoid rear-end accidents by always driving with appropriate safe distance and attentiveness. Front collisions. A front collision is also known as a head-on collision. It occurs when the front ends of two vehicles collide into each other. It mostly occurs on two-way roads and sometimes at junctions. The main cause of a front collision is that motorists disobey the traffic rules and regulations, lose the vehicle control due to some reason. Although head-on collisions are not as frequent as rear or side collisions, they often involve serious injuries or fatalities as the two vehicles collide each other with greater force. Motorists can avoid a head-on collision by always driving in their lane and by following safe driving principles. Planning for a suitable route. In this module, you will learn about the importance of planning a suitable route and the ways to do so. An early planning for suitable route encourages safe, healthy, and sustainable journey, which makes a positive contribution to the community and the environment. By planning a suitable route, motorists can save time, money, fuel, and traffic congestion. Nowadays, it is obvious that the traffic congestion in most countries is on the increase and is growing as metropolitan areas are becoming bigger. The traffic situation becomes worse during peak hours. One of the main reasons for traffic jams is that most of the people prefer using their own vehicles instead of public transportation. Traffic congestion can lead to motorists becoming frustrated and engaging in road rage. Stressful driving can also cause the motorists to make mistakes, resulting in minor, major, or deadly road accidents. Although traffic congestion is inevitable, there are ways to minimize the involvement in the congestion and to reach the destination on time. Some of the methods to deal with traffic congestion are giving enough time for journey, selection of the best route, detours to avoid congestion, giving enough time for journey. One of the biggest challenges during a journey is to reach the destination in time. Therefore, motorists should always plan their journey in advance to avoid traffic jams or speeding on the road to reach the destination in time. Motorists can also make slight changes in their travel time to reach their destination quickly and safely. It is common knowledge that the opening and closing times of offices and schools are the peak travel times. So, if possible, motorists should avoid traveling during these hours. But if they must travel during peak hours, they should allow enough time for the travel. For instance, if motorists know that their journey requires 30 minutes, they should allow for additional time for traffic, parking, and any other unexpected delay. Allowing enough time will help to reach the destination in time without any panic and delay. Apart from this, motorists may plan their journey to reach their destination safely by sharing the driving whenever possible, ensuring that the vehicle is well maintained, ensuring that they are not impaired by alcohol or any drug, making sure that they are well rested, avoiding driving in peak sleepiness periods. In case motorists get stuck in traffic jams or in an unpredictable traffic situation, they should not panic. Be patient and think it is truly beyond their control. Practice some deep breathing exercises to stay calm and feel more focused. Avoid distraction and pay attention to the speed and movements of the vehicles around. Stay in the lane unless they need to exit or turn somewhere. Listen to traffic reports to understand the cause and severity of the jam. Consider an alternative route. Selection of the best route. Every journey should be a managed journey. Motorists should plan their journey by considering type of the road, road hazards, traffic density, other high-risk features such as schools or busy shopping centres. This would help the motorists to make the trip as safe and pleasurable as possible. Detour to avoid congestion. The obvious and easy option to avoid traffic congestion would be to take a detour. However, motorists should not act impulsively. Before deciding to take a detour, they should consider the following: whether the alternative routes are well familiar, whether the chosen directions are the best options considering the speed and traffic lights, whether the detour path is free of congestion. If the alternative route is safe to continue, motorists may make the detour. However, motorists should remember that using a different route than the usual might mean going around a longer way to reach the destination, but it is still preferable than getting stuck in the traffic jam. To select the best alternate route, there are several devices which the motorists can utilize, like electronic signs for road conditions and upcoming obstructions, radio stations that provide periodic traffic reports, many smartphone applications that give up-to-date traffic information, GPS navigation devices to guide on a detour. However, motorists should make sure that they have set these devices before beginning their journey. Eco-friendly driving. In this module, you'll learn about eco-friendly driving. Eco-friendly driving is the practice of driving in a way that reduces fuel consumption, emission of the greenhouse gas, carbon dioxide, and accident rates. It is an efficient way of driving that suits modern engine technology. The smart, smooth, and safe driving techniques lead to an average fuel saving of 5 to 10%. Eco-friendly driving offers benefits to the motorists of light vehicles, heavy vehicles, buses, and motorcycles. Many countries have adapted this driving style to reduce fuel consumption, CO2 emission, local air quality pollutants, noise, vehicle repair and maintenance cost, driver and passenger stress, accident rate. Generally, this safer driving behavior can be achieved from an anticipatory driving style, reduced speeding, a less stressful and aggressive driving style, less overtaking. There is much advice that motorists follow to get the financial, environmental, and safety benefits. Some of the techniques can be observed before beginning the journey, while others can be followed while driving. Let's see how to keep the vehicle prepared for eco-friendly driving. Regularly service the vehicle. Always keep the engine tuned. Check the tire pressure regularly. Low tire pressure consumes more fuel. To make a real difference while driving, motorists should avoid overloading the vehicle, improve aerodynamic efficiency by closing the windows, drive smoothly by accelerating gently, scan road ahead and decelerate accordingly to avoid unnecessary braking. In case of driving a manual transmission vehicle, select the higher gear as soon as possible. For the best performance, always keep the engine speed below 3000 RPM. Maintain a steady speed. Driving between 80 and 100 km per hour means the emission is the lowest. If safe to do so, use cruise control to drive more efficiently. Always reverse park into the bay as it's easy and safe to drive out forward. Fuel can also be saved as reverse maneuvering with a cold engine consumes more fuel. Consider the time of the day to avoid frequent stops and to avoid going through heavy traffic. Always drive safely and remember to follow the rules of the road.